So hello and welcome to this webinar. I'm glad you're here. We have one person live on the line, and I know that there was a number of people signed up, but often we don't have the time right when it's happening. So I'm glad you're here, Karina, and I'm also glad that you are listening. If you're listening to the recording, that you're doing that. So today we are going to talk about how to move from resolution to reality. So many of us have New Year's resolutions. About 60% of Americans actually make New Year's resolutions, but only 9% actually make them successful and make them a reality in their lives. So, and I know it doesn't have to be like that, and that's why I am putting on this webinar to teach you a method of how to move from resolution via intentions, via goals, via habits, and making it an actual reality in your life. So you're in the right place if you want to create your life. If you want to be in the driver's seat and you want to make things happen. You don't just want to let life happen to you, but you actually want to make life happen. And I know both of you, now Faye joined us, both of you are those type of people, so I'm really glad you're here. So what we'll do today is, first of all, I want to explain to you, from my point of view, what is the difference between resolution, an intention, and a goal, and why that would help us. We'll also take some time to tap into our vision. That will be probably the bulk of the time that we spend today. And then also, how do you make a goal out of that intention? And then how do you actually implement it into your life? So do you actually taking action steps for it to happen, so that at the end of the year you can say, yes, I'm not part of the 81% that didn't make their resolutions come a reality, but I'm actually part of the 9% who did it. So that's my goal for today. So just a few words about myself. I had a really cool realization and a deepening of understanding earlier last year about what it means to be a creator. And I was lying on my couch, and all of a sudden this voice comes into my head and says, you know what, girlfriend, you're really the creator of your own life, you know? Like, you're ready for it. Like, drop all, there's not going to be any support anymore from any spirits or deities or any prayers or anything. You're it, you know? So get up off of that freaking couch and do it, because nobody ain't going to do it for you. And I was lying on that couch and I'm like, for real? Right, I am the creator of my life, and whatever I do creates what I'm surrounding myself with, creates my health, creates my relationship, creates my career. So ultimately, I'm not a victim to my circumstances, and I'm not the product of my circumstances, but actually I'm the product of my actions. So while I may not be able to control the outcome of my life necessarily, there's something that we need to let go of there, but what we can control is our actions. And so that's really where this is at, this talk today, this workshop. It's really a workshop where we tap into our vision and our goals and whatnot. So I should say a couple more words about myself. Hi, Faye. Welcome. You know me too, but I just want to say another couple of words. So I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner, and I'm a yoga health coach. I'm also a body worker. And I ultimately help women to reach their health goals. So, and I also have an online program called Body Joy, where I help women establish the rhythm and the routine and the habits that you need to have in place in order to get there. So, but enough about me now. Now let's tap in, and I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And can you wave at me if you can see my screen? Yep, great, awesome. And I can see you still. So if you want something, need something, I can see your faces. I cannot see the chat right now, so you could wave at me or or do something to gain my attention. So first thing we want to do is, what's the difference between resolutions, intentions, and goals? So in the way I define resolutions, is like resolutions is kind of like wishful thinking. It's more like a wish and a want. Now, if you look at the definition of the word resolution, it says to make a firm decision about something. So ultimately, a resolution is a decision, but often the way they're practiced is that they're coming from the mind, that they're like a good idea. So at a New Year's party, somebody may ask you, well, what's your resolution? I'm like, oh, I'm going to give up smoking. I'm going to eat healthier this year. Yes, I'm going to eat healthier this year. And then you're like, okay, I'm resolved. I'm going to eat healthier this year. I'm just going to do it. So often resolutions are rested on willpower. And we're using willpower to pull us forward. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to eat healthier. Okay, I'm going to exercise more. And then, but we don't really have a plan to put it into action. So ultimately, resolutions fall by the wayside and we forget all about it. So come week 1 and 2, we may be still doing something about it. And we remember, yeah, I thought I was going to eat healthier, or I was going to work on this career thing, but then I ultimately don't do it. And come week 3 or 4, I may have forgotten already about it. So in essence, a resolution in my mind comes from the mind, but it doesn't come from a deeper inner desire of really wanting something and really deeply desiring it. That's why I put a cloud by resolutions, because it's kind of like, a nice idea, I should be doing this. So resolution lacks the compassion and the desire of intentions ultimately. So if you look now to intentions are much more desire-based and deeply want-based. It taps into our deeper soul need of what I want to achieve with my life, or not necessarily with my life, but just next year, you know? If you make it a little bit shorter time span, what do we want to achieve next year? So for me, an intention has much more of a watery quality and airy and watery. So airy in the sense that it's expansive, and watery in that it's connected to our desire, to our heart's longing. Oh, what is it? What is this great spirit want to express through me? So in essence, an intention gives us our deeper why, and our deeper, it's connected to our vision. Now the downfall with intentions are awesome, right? Intentions, like, they make us feel expansive, and they make us feel like, oh, I'm just going to bathe in my juiciness of who I want to become this year. But then what intentions lack is the fire behind it to actually make them happen. So the fire comes from a goal. So goals, they are, as I said, they're fiery, and they describe a clear end point in the future. Goals are very much concerned with getting to this end goal. While we're talking about goals don't care about how we get there. We just want the Zen goal to show up. Now, intentions, on the other hand, they're all about the process, about getting there. Oh, I feel light and free in my body, and I'm just going to flow into this new expansion of myself. Whereas a goal says, I'm light and free. I want to be light and free, and that's who I am, and there's no other. I'm just concerned about that. No matter who is in my way, I'm just going to kick it out of the way. I just want to get there. So in essence, goals are the things that kick us into action. They make us do something. So a goal could be, oh, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, and this is this end goal I want to achieve. And so we're just shooting for that goal, basically. Now, as I say, goals by themselves, they can be very fiery, so they can feel very intense. So when we come from an intention from this expansive state of beauty, all of a sudden we're setting goals and we're starting to feel really contracted. And that's a very normal thing to happen. Intentions are very feminine. Goals are very masculine. When we are able to combine the two, we get a balanced pulsation of femininity and masculinity. So let's take some time. Let's do a little inquiry practice. So this will be the bulk of our conversation today. So we'll do a short meditation, and then I'm going to ask you a number of questions, and there will be quite a number. So you want to have a pen and paper handy, and I see you guys are writing already, so you have that handy, because I'm going to just go throw out some questions to you after our meditation and give you a very short amount of time to answer them. And it's designed that way because what I want you to do is just let it come out. The first thing that comes out, trust it. What is the answer to that question? Write it down. What's the answer to that question? Write it down. We don't want to come from the thinking mind. We want to come from this deep inner desire kind of place, from our bellies, if you will, or from our hearts, if you will, however you want to, that comes for you. So let's spend a few minutes to center ourselves and come into a quiet space. So you may want to close your eyes for this if you like. It helps you to turn inward for a moment. And just allow your body to settle down into your seat. Let the energy drop from the crown of your head into your face, into your chest, into your arms, into your pelvis, and down into the center of the earth. So allow your body to be fully present and heavy. And now imagine the midline of your body. If you know Shushumna Nadi, if you know what that is, then focus your mind on Shushumna Nadi. If you don't know what that is, then imagine your spine from the coccyx up to the crown of your head. And focus your attention there. That's your midline. Now draw the energy from the front of your body to that midline. From the right of your body to the midline. From behind to the midline. From the left to the midline. From above to the center. And from below to the center. Now from the northeast corner of your body to the center. The southeast corner of your body to the center. From the southwest corner to the center. And from the northwest corner to the center. From above to the center. And from below to the center. Imagining a bubble around your whole body. Drawing the energy from all sides of your body into the center part of your being. Please drop your attention into your heart and start to breathe in and out of your heart. Who are you? And who do you want to become? So when you are ready, please take your pen and paper and write down, what are your accomplishments from last year? Brainstorm your accomplishments from last year. Anything that comes to mind, career, health, fun, anything that you have accomplished, big or small. What are your key lessons from last year? What have you learned? You're just brainstorming. What were your key challenges from last year? Again, think health, career, relationships, communication, anything. What are your key challenges? What burner of your life was turned up really high last year? So burner of life means, it was the health burner, the career burner, the play burner, the nourish me burner. What burner was high? And then draw a picture of you, just a quick, fun picture, whatever that is. It doesn't, whatever it, could be a stick figure, it could be a flower, it could be anything that's representing you, the current version of you, how you feel right now in this present time in your life. You can draw the things that surround you even. If you could give me a nod once you feel like that was enough time for that. So now that we looked into the past a little bit, let's look into what's important to you. So this next section will be what's important to you in your life. So write down 5 things that you would fight for. 5 things that are so important to you, you would defend. And the next question is, what have you always wanted to do, but been afraid of doing? If you were on your deathbed today, what would you regret not having done? How do you want to be remembered? By your family, by your friends, by your colleagues, by your students, by the people around you. How do you want to be remembered? Great. So now that we have some idea about what's important to us, let's project into the future. What do you want for this coming year, 2018? The first question is, what do you want to say no to this year? What's superfluous in your life, no longer needed? What do you want to say no to? What do you want to say yes to this year? What burner of life do you want to turn up this year? Which one is going to be on really high? Health, career, fun, self-development, spirituality. What is it? That should be a quick one. And then this time next year, fill in the blank. I want to feel. This time next year, I want to feel. 3, 4, 5 words, plenty. This time next year, I want to know, fill in the blank. And this time next year, I want to have done blank. I want to have done blank. And now you get to be creative again, because the vision really likes to work in pictures. So you get to draw a picture of yourself 1 year from now. How is that gonna look? So January 2019, what's Faye and what's Karina gonna look like? Will you nod at me once you're done with that? I want to give you enough time. Yeah, you're good. Okay, so then out of that, what we just did, so looking into the past, figuring out what's important to you, looking into the future and drawing a picture, write 1, 2, or 3 sentences which reflects that, it reflects your vision. So what I want you to write is down your intention for 2018. Yeah, so however that looks, usually 1, 2, or 3 sentences is enough. And I suggest that you start with the sentence stem, I am, ... and fill in the blank. So for example, I am a vibrant woman who is living a life with patience, ease, and harmony, or whatever that is for you. I am ... No limitations, no censoring, no nothing. It's, I think both of you know that a vision and intention is broad. It's non-limitless. We want it to be non-limitless in a way. Yes, we are narrowing down the resolution to an intention basically right now, but still an intention is really wide and expansive and free and limitless. The objections come later. You guys good on that? Yeah, great. So I would love to hear you guys share. I would love to see your picture if you're willing to share it, and what you came up with for your intention and any insights or ahas you had from this. Let me see if I can. Participants here. Who wants to share? You can unmute yourself, I believe.
I can. I can go first if you want.
By the way, Faye, this is Karina. Karina, this is Faye.
Hi, Faye. As you know, Alexandra, it's always, even though I think we've been doing this exercise, it's always a surprise what comes out.
Yeah.
Every time you do it, where is this coming from? So this is me right now. I don't know if you can see it.
Yep. Yep. Perfect. Uh-huh.
That was what came out. Drawing is not my forte, but I feel that kind of containment and that need for breaking out.
Yeah, it looks to me like you're pushing against the borders of your being, and you want those borders to be bigger.
Yes, exactly. And then this is what came out.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have a body anymore, and it's kind of like an explosion of lines and whatever. And in the intention or the I am, what came out is, I am explosive, respectful of all life on earth.
Okay.
And I am explorer, a woman that explores.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Totally. So it sounds all about like expansion and really letting things come out from the inside out is what I'm hearing. Like explode.
Yeah, it is like layers of expansions, even the hands expanding more, and so there are no feet, so maybe that's another sign. But anyway, it's always interesting to do it with your prompt, so you don't have time to think.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And Faye, just so you know, Karina and I have been working together for like 4 years. So we've been doing similar exercises over the years. So that's what Karina is referring to. So I can see in that picture where she's going because I know the backstory for Karina. So anyway, do you want to share, Faye?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. My signal is a bit, but hopefully you'll catch me. So my, they're just little pictures, not, but basically I'm like a little, can you see this? It's just a little plant. So I feel like I've grown all the roots now, and I'm starting to come up and be seen more. Like, so I've done like the underlying work on both myself and career-wise and everything, and I feel like I'm just sort of going, oh, where's this gonna go? Like that was last year, and at the moment as well. So I've just taken the first steps into a new career path that I've been studying for 3 years. So it feels like, okay, where's this gonna go? So that's that.
Wait, that was the current version of you, correct?
That was how, yeah, exactly. So where I got at the end of 2017, yeah. And then by this time next year, I've got 2 little pictures. So I've got the flower, but then that didn't really seem, because once a flower grows, it just stops. So it didn't seem enough. So this is me, and then with other people, just sort of lifting each other up, feeling connected. And yeah, that's mainly the thing. I'm quite isolated. I've been doing a lot of internal work, and I feel like I'm ready now to start going, and start talking to people and stuff. So yeah, that was me with other beings.
Yeah. And what is your intention in words? So you shared the picture, but what's your intention in words?
In words, I'm feeling connected to both myself and others on a deeper level, and trusting myself to help others as well. I do this through lifting people up with me as I become healthier and more vibrant.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Awesome. So how does this make you feel? Does it make you feel expansive or contracted?
No, expensive.
Yeah, expansive. Yeah. Does it make you feel excited about 2018? Or yeah, right? That's what a vision does. Yeah. It makes us really like, woo, yay, excited for the coming year, right? But now, like we talked about before, intentions are this thing, but now we have to narrow them down and actually make them happen, because universe makes things happen for us on some level, and we're setting the direction with an intention, but really the universe doesn't make it happen for us. We have to take the action. So we have to figure out what action steps we have to take now for you, Faye, for example, for that flower to grow. And we have to find out the goals for Karina so she can expand that border that's around her right now. We want to, so she can explode into this beautiful being who she is, right? So let's talk about goals. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen with you. And let's see what's up next here. I want to read to you this quote real quick that really reflects the intention. Like, what does an intention do for us? What does tapping into the vision do for us? And this is a quote by Patanjali, who wrote the Yoga Sutras, which is the yoga book. And he says this in another book that he wrote, in Mahabhasya. He says, when you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds. Your mind transcends limitations, your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world. That's basically what I'm hearing is this expansive nature of tapping into your vision. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents become alive, and you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamed yourself to be. So be prepared. If you are stepping into your vision, if you really tapped deep enough, dormant forces will come alive. They will propel you forward. Faculties and talents will become alive. People are going to start showing up. Circumstances are going to show up. And things that become manifest in a way that you've never dreamed yourself to be. So, we are basically, by tapping into the vision, we're tapping into the growth path. And we know this, right? And we need to be grounded for that, because for that flower to grow really big and for that ring to expand really wide, we are going to be ungrounded, right? And so anyway, I'm just saying self-care practices are going to be super important during this process. But now let's look at how do we define our vision further? How do we set goals? And the way we set goals is basically with a system called SMART. We're going to set SMART goals. And SMART is an acronym that stands for SMART, measurable, S is specific rather, not SMART, that's wrong. Measurable, A for achievable, it's relevant, and it's time-bound. So out of the intention that you wrote down, we now need to define a goal that is really specific. So for example, I'm just going to go through these with an example, and then at the end, you're going to get to do your own, transform it for your own intention. So say my intention was, I want to feel more light and free in my body. That's a nice vision. It's great. It makes me feel expansive, like, yeah, I'm light and free. So no, it's not very specific though. So we could make it more specific by saying, well, I want to feel more light in my physical body. I want to feel more centered in my mind, and I want to feel more free in my spirit. So in that way, we would make the intention a little bit more specific. Now we need to make it also measurable, because if we don't have something measurable, then we can't see, are we actually moving forward? Are we actually progressing on the path? So how do we make something measurable? We put a time, a measuring tab on it. So say, for example, you wanted to lose weight. That would be very easy. I will lose 20 pounds. So instead of just saying, I'll lose weight, or I feel more light in my body, you say, I will lose 20 pounds. Now, if you have more of a esoteric goal of, I want to be more loving and patient, it's a little bit more difficult to make it measurable. But what you can do is put a number on it. So say you feel loving and compassionate at a level of 3 right now, you could say, I want to increase my level of compassion and love to a level of 6. So that way you would make it more measurable. Achievable. You have to make your goal that you're coming up with from your intention achievable. So an easy example would be the pound example. Say you're weighing 180 pounds right now, and you want to lose 30 pounds. And if you say, well, I want to lose 30 pounds in the next 30 days, that's not so achievable. That's really hard. So you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. But so you may want to choose something like, well, I want to lose 5 pounds in the next 30 days, 5 pounds the next 30 days, and another 5 pounds the next 30 days. That is a very achievable goal. Now, in terms of achievable, you also want to make sure it's not underachievable. So it's like if it's too small of a goal, it's not inspiring. So say you earn $40,000 right now, and you say, well, in 2018, I want to make 42,000. Well, that's not very inspiring. Like, okay, 2,000 more, like who cares, sort of a thing. But if I say, well, in 2018, I want to move from 40,000 to say 55,000, that may be achievable. It may also be inspiring, Whereas if you say, oh, I want to move from 40,000 to 100,000, that's not so achievable. It may be inspiring, but it's not achievable, likely, you know? So you have to find a balance between achievable and inspiring. Then the goal has to be relevant. So whatever goal you are choosing out of your intention obviously has to be relevant towards your vision. So if your vision and intention is to be a conservationist for the earth, like Karina has her vision to become a conservationist for the earth, and she now chooses a goal that is I'm a lose 20 pounds, that may not be in alignment. You know, maybe it goes because you could say, like, I want to lose that pound so I have more energy so I can get there. Then that would be a relevant goal. But for Karina, because she's already the perfect size, she doesn't need to lose 20 pounds. That would be not a relevant goal. Yeah. Or so, for example, for me, I had a goal last year. I was like, I'm going to learn about guns. I'm like, because I had been studying martial arts, and I figured I should know a little bit more about guns, you know, like what do they feel like, and what does it feel like to shoot a gun, and why are people excited about it? Because we keep talking about it in martial arts class, and I figure, you know, if I just go to a shooting range a few times, like in a year, then I at least know how this whole gun situation works. But then, you know what, I thought about my bigger vision for myself and where I want to go in life and what I want to achieve. And if you know me a little bit, I'm just so much more of a healer and a yogi and someone who cares about the health of the environment, the health of people, and the health of myself, and growth and whatnot. And that goal just really wasn't relevant for who I wanted to go. So I scratched that one. Very easy to-do list, make your to-do list smaller, bye-bye. Okay, so then time bound. You have to make the goal that you're going to choose time bound. If it doesn't, and that's very easy to do, you just simply put a date to it. So if I say, I want to lose 20 pounds, well, that's nice, but by when? If it's 20 pounds at some point in time, that doesn't give me any drive to actually make it happen. But if I say, I want to lose 20 pounds by March 31st, well, it gives me 2.5 months to work on. Aha, now I have a kick in the ass to make it happen, right? So we have to make it time bound. Make sense? This is pretty straightforward. Yeah, it's pretty cognitive understanding. So what I want you to do now is take your intention that you wrote, and you can connect to the picture that you have, or you can connect to the words that you came up with, and write down one, 2, or 3 goals that would be in alignment with that. And first, before you do that, before you actually write, we have to get away from the year now. So envision the year, but now tap it down to 90 days. What is it in the next 90 days that you can do that is a significant step forward towards your vision? So just brainstorm a few examples right now. You don't have to make it smart at the moment. You just brainstorm just 2, 3, 4, 5 examples. And then circle the one that jumps out at you. So you have one to work with right now. Okay. Now take that one that you circled and make it smart. Means make it specific, make it measurable, make it achievable, make it relevant, and make it time bound. And I would love to hear from you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen again, and would love to hear from you. What have you come up with as an example?
You want me to share?
Yes.
So since we had done something similar but different in a way, aligned with it, since our last session, I came up, what helps me is have themes per month in the 90 days. Each month has a different, because of where I find myself in the world, has a different feeling. So I put that feminine to make it more feminine. Otherwise, I struggle with that masculine part of goal setting. So I did January would be exploration and clearing all stuff. February would be discovery phase. March would be quiet time. And so my goal, so those are the themes, the feminine, still kind of feminine part, but more focused. And so my goal is by the end of March, I will have researched 5 career options and 20 companies to work for.
Okay. Great.
Related to conservation. So it's a goal that I can, by the end of March, I will know if I have done it or not. That is the masculine part that I struggle with.
That's really cool. So now let's go back and see, is it specific? So can you say that this goal again, just so I have it? You say
I will have researched 5 career options and 20 companies to work for by the end of March.
Okay. So is it specific? Faye, do you think that's specific? Definitely, right? Very specific. She's good at that. She worked in corporate America. Is it measurable?
Yes, I have to have 5 career options and a list of 20 companies.
Yeah, great. 5 career options, 20 companies. Great. Is it achievable? Is it something you can do within 3 months? Because your time bound was March 31st, right? Yeah. Yep. Okay, that's good for you. Yeah, you're an executor, you're an achiever, you can do it, right? Is it relevant to your vision?
Yes.
How is it relevant to your vision that you shared with us?
Because I need to expand my circle of knowledge and I don't know, life, right? So anything I knew until now was high tech, and now I'm expanding that circle. So I need to research, and that is relevant to where I'm going to be.
Great. And is it time bound?
By the end of March.
Great. Awesome. Easy. That was far too easy. Let's hear from Faye. Good job. And by the way, sorry, I have to say one more thing. I really like the theme that you added there, Karina, and make it more feminine. But like what we were saying before, when we tap into goals, it gets so masculine, and so it gets also contracted. And you're gonna start feeling like this is like shit. I have all these goals. I don't know if I'm gonna make them happen, and it doesn't feel exciting. And so by having the theme, it's like, oh, I'm having the theme of exploration. Oh, I'm having a theme of quietude. Like it gives that feminine aspect. I totally love that addition. Thanks for that. I just wanted to acknowledge that I heard you, and then I love that. So Faye, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I really like that as well when you said feminine. So mine is, I practice daily self-care and breath body practices. I'm doing the Living Ayurveda, so include a lifestyle in with my clients. So I'm just setting up business where I've just studied nutrition, but I totally believe it's more about lifestyle, and I'm really learning that at the moment. So I've moved from last year. I think you probably know this. I got really upset on the last call, but it all kind of went a bit crazy, and we ended up living somewhere that was really toxic. And I've just come out of that, so I feel like I'm really buzzing at the moment and really putting my energy back to me rather than it was crazy energy. So for the next 3 months, I'm really going to try it and embody it all, so that I feel it and I've got it, like that passion's there, ready to help other people. So by the end of March, I want to embody the teachings that I want to pass on.
So you want to embody the teachings. So what is your SMART goal that you came up with for the next 90 days?
So I practice daily self-care and exercise, and personal growth, ready to pass on to my clients.
Okay. So there's kind of like three. So let's, because there's self-care and exercise, well, they kind of go together. And then there's the second one. There's kind of two in one that you put in one right now. Yeah. Can you see that? I share, or what was the thing with the sharing with other people?
So I'm setting up with clients at the moment. I've just started seeing, well, I've literally had a first client, but I'm trying to get out there with it. So I want to embody what I am teaching, because I haven't been doing it where I've been living. So I feel like
I embody what I teach, and I share what I embody. It's kind of like I embody what I teach, and I share what I know. Sounds like that's a goal. I share what I know, right? Is that reflective? That is one of your goals. Okay, so let's take this last one, because I find it curious. So I share what I know. Let's take that SMART goal, because there's really three goals we have here, right? I practice daily self-care is one. I embody what I teach. Well, that's actually that and the first, these are the same thing, yeah? So you have I practice daily self-care, and I share what I know. So let's take the second one, I share what I know, and let's make that SMART. So let's see, is it specific? I share what I know.
No.
Not really that specific, right? How could you make it more specific? What do you want to share? Like even saying I share healing knowledge would be more specific.
Yeah, definitely. That would be good.
Well, what else do you want to share? I want to share nutrition.
No. Yeah, more to do with like removing barriers from people mentally. So nutrition will be in, because it will be to do with like the energy and stuff, but yeah, more to remove people's like personal barriers that they've got.
Right. So right now we're kind of more in the vision area of it. So because now when we go to measurable, how could we make this measurable? I share healing knowledge. Well, we could make it measurable. We could make it measurable. Karina, you got any ideas? I do.
I don't know a lot of background, but you can say I will have a webinar on this subject by this date, so I can share the knowledge with my clients.
So you could say, yeah, you could say that, or you could simply say I share knowledge with 10 or with 5 new clients and 5 friends, or something like that.
Yeah.
And this Karina's example is even more specific, yeah? So that would be better. It's like I teach 3 webinars on healing related topics.
Yeah.
So let's, I'm going to say 3 classes on healing topics. Let's go with that one as an example. So let's see, is that specific?
Yeah.
Definitely. Is it measurable?
Yeah.
Really measurable, yeah? Is it achievable? Can you teach 3 classes on healing by the, yeah? Great. Easy, right? Is it relevant to your vision or your intention that you came up with the flower?
Yeah, definitely.
I think so too, from all I know about you. And then is it time bound?
Yeah, within like 1 a month I could do, yeah.
Okay, so we haven't made it time bound yet, but we have to make it time bound. So we could say I teach 3 classes on healing subjects by March 31. So that would be 1 a month. Right?
Yeah.
So yay, you got a SMART goal. So this is how, so great, that's awesome. So that was beautiful. We had one perfect example and then one that we couldn't refine. You guys are awesome. So basically what we want to have is the vision is one vision, yeah? We have one vision for the year. There's not 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 vision, but we have one vision, one big, hairy, audacious goal for the year. A BHAG. It's called a BHAG. It's the same as a vision. It doesn't matter. It's like this one thing that we're going for. Because it is so broad, we want to just have this one thing that we are envisioning ourselves to be. Then when we come down to goals, we want to have a maximum of 3 major goals for the quarter. And that's the major goals, you know, like, so for example, one of my goals is to, let's see, what would be a good example? Anyway, sorry, I don't have an example right now, but what I'm trying to say is you want to have 3 big goals, not many more than that, because then you're going to be like, oh God, where should I put my attention? So it's like for Karina, the one big goal would be to find her career path. So we'll contact these 20 people and find these 3 things. Yeah, that may be a big enough task, you know. And then there's lots of subtasks that she probably will have to do on that one. For me, it's teaching 3 webinars in the next 3 months is one of my goals for the next quarter. But there's a lot of other little things that I have to do underneath that I have to actually learn how to do and whatnot, right? So 3 goals is a good thing. So now that we have a goal, goals are good because they set the directions. Now we're missing one major ingredient to actually make it happen and put it into our lives. And that is habits. We need habits to actually put it into action, yeah? So let's see if you guys can still see my screen. And yes, and let's see. So here's just a visual that really helps me understand why we need these different components. So we have the resolutions, like we always said. Then we narrow it down with the intention. Then we come to goals. Now we have habits. See how habits have like this square, and a square is something really stable and grounded and earthy. Well, that's what habits are. They really ground our intention and our goals into our daily lives. So basically what we need to do now with the goal is we need to make that goal smaller and make tiny steps, so and identify tiny steps so we can actually achieve it. And ultimately then that will become the reality. So if you have an outcome, and this outcome here in the center can be a health outcome, it can be a career outcome, it can be a fun outcome, it can be any kind of outcome. But we are creating the habits around it. We're planting different seeds for that habit to come, for that outcome to come about. So for example, my big, hairy, audacious goal for 2018 is to grow my business exponentially. Yeah? So that's a very general vision that I'm sharing with you. And for the next 90 days, my focus is podcasting, advertising, and teaching. Podcasting, advertising, teaching. So now I need to create, so those are my goals, and I made them smart. Then I have to ask myself, well, what kind of habits do I need to have in order for that to come true? Well, first of all, a habit needs to be, I need to write at least 1 blog post a month. I need to produce 2 podcasts a month. That's a habit. Like that's something that I can put into my calendar, produce a podcast. That's an actionable, somewhat tiny step for me at this point. I maybe need to write a sales page. I may need to do all these different steps. So when you look at your SMART goal now, ask yourself, well, what 3 key habits would I have to have in place in order for my goal to come true? I'll give you a second to do that. Did you catch what we're doing? I don't think you caught what we're doing, Faye. So what I want you to do is write down 3 habits that you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 habits, whatever comes out of you, that you need to have in place in order to reach your desired goal. So go with the goal that you came up with and ask yourself, well, what habit do I have to have in order for that to happen? And then I would love to hear from you what you guys came up with. If you could restate your SMART goal in a clear way, just read your SMART goal and then say the habit that you want to adopt in order to make that happen.
Can I also ask you a question that I always struggle with?
Yeah.
When we say habit, the word habit to me, because I'm so used to your daily habits of body health, I tend to think of a daily thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm having with this big career change or exploration, what I'm coming to realize is that habits may not be daily and may not even be weekly. Sometimes it's a month dedicated to this, and then the habit changes, and the next month is a different habit. It's not something that like tongue scraping that is just in you, right?
And you're completely right. And I should have mentioned what are some habits and maybe some one-time action steps you need to take. You know, that when it comes to career or when it comes to other things like taking care of ourselves, then they move away from daily and maybe even weekly. They may just be a one-time thing or a monthly thing. And the themes also change, you know. Themes can change. So when it comes to our daily habits, obviously, tongue scraping and meditation and all of that we do on a daily basis. But you may also have weekly habits. So maybe once a week you're making a luxurious taking care of yourself. You know, you may also have a monthly habit of, I don't know, getting a massage, for example. You know, so even with the self-care habits that can be daily, weekly, or monthly, or even maybe yearly. Maybe once a year you go on a retreat. You know, so that is your yearly habit. But yes, there could also be one-time action steps that you need to do. Is that clearing up the question?
Yeah. That's where my mind sometimes gets hung up on, how do I make it more clear?
Yeah.
My goal was I will have researched 5 career options and 20 companies to work for by the end of March. And I have it. Going back, I'm trying to come up with that masculine feminine balance that you were mentioning. So I'm trying to keep that intention that I had of being an explorer. So one habit would be keep an explorer mind when I read articles related to conservation, because in those articles there are companies that are highlighted or career options. So if I have an explorer mind, and that would be my habit, every time I read an article, I would have to be the explorer. That would be my habit.
I love that. The other attitude habit. I like it. It's an attitude habit.
The other would be 10 hours per week researching careers. And the other one would be, and now where I am right now, so by March, with the theme of quiet and absorbing what I researched, I will need a lot of time for meditation, time in nature, and exercising, so I can digest all that information.
Okay, so your daily
habit would be continue with my daily meditation practice and increase the amount of exercise and time in nature.
Great. Awesome. Yeah. And I know for you that will be very easy because you already have it in place. So for you, it's simply a statement, making a statement of doing it. Yeah.
Well, right now where I am in the world, it's not the meditation happens, but the exercise is not happening. The time in nature is not happening because I'm in cement. But I hope by March I will be in a different location.
Yeah. Well, would you like to make it happen where you're at right now? And is that something that you would have to pay more attention to and actually write it is that a habit that you want to have right now, or is it a habit that you want to have in March? Because if you're very clear about that, you're going to stop beating yourself up over it. If you think exercise should, quote unquote, should be in your daily habits, and it's in the back of your mind, and you write it down, and you're like, shit, I'm not doing it. But really, you just told me all the reservations you have about it. So it sounds like you're not going to do it. So do you want to write it down and actually make it happen? Or do you not want to write it down and not want to make it happen?
It's doable. Okay, yeah, I like how you always challenge me on pushing the limit. I will write it down and I will make it happen, even with the constraints of the location.
Okay. You may even just do 5 minutes of jumping jacks in your room.
Yes.
And maybe that's your exercise.
Doable, 1 minute, whatever is doable. Yeah.
Whatever's doable, and if you can't go outside for various reasons, then that's so. Just work with the constraints. Great. Awesome. Clarity. This is what clarity is about, right? Yeah, clearing the pathway. And also what it does when we get really clear about our goals, when you're clear about, even when we're writing it down, there's a magic in writing things down, because when they're written down and you're like, oh, I said I was going to do that and I don't do it, then, well, first of all, there's accountability, but I wanted to go to somewhere else. There's a checking back in point, like, why didn't I do it? And I wanted to go somewhere else with that, but anyway. Faye, let's hear from you. I wanted to go somewhere. I can't remember. I lost my train of thought.
So mine that we came up with was to teach 3 classes to clients or friends and family, one per month. So the habits that I've come up with are to reach out and actually speak to my friends and family to see if they're interested, if they could speak to their friends, and maybe what subjects that they would be happy on. And from there I can then start researching more. And I really find I struggle to get the words that I'm like, there's so much going on up here, but I really struggle to actually articulate what I'm thinking. So my way of doing that is by writing. So to actually write almost like a blog, but write something for myself on the subject so that it flows more. So that's my way of being able to do it. I'm really good at doing that, and then just taking a step back, but not actually being then able to explain to people what I'm saying. So that's what I need to work on, the link there. But also
Sorry, can I interrupt you? Are you saying then that your habit is going to be daily journaling or daily blog writing or something like that?
Yeah, so daily journaling about, so the self-care comes into it as well, and then journaling about the self-care and how that's changing me. And then also by blogging as well, maybe not daily, but sort of weekly from what I'm researching. And my partner has said about doing it with him. So he was like, do it, but read the blog to me, but sort of just use it as a guide and so that you don't get over that fear of speaking with people. Because I've just got this like crazy fear about putting my words in.
Okay, so you have 2 habits then: journaling, or daily journaling, and weekly blog writing. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 blog post a week, and I see the 2 very closely being interlinked. I mean, one leads to the other. Whatever you journal about, you're just going to write a blog about.
Yeah, because I'll be reading.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
And then people, like reaching out to people and seeing if they're interested. So I know so many people would be, but I'm just behind the doors at the moment. So
right.
I always ask and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get back to you. It's just a bit.
Totally.
Just need to, step up my own shadow.
Cool. Good.
Yeah, great.
Awesome. So yeah. What are you good with your? Yeah, you're good with that. Awesome. Yeah. So now that we got into the habits, so basically what I wanted you to see with this brief exercise is like how you get from expansion to a state of contraction in a good way, because when we're in a contracted space, that's when things materialize. Yeah. When we go back to this picture that I drew here, hang on just a second, is see how it comes from a very expanded space to a very sort of contracted space. That's good, because in that contracted space, that's when we materialize things, and we want that. And very likely when you start going into your habits, and when you do this with more than just one, because we just did it with one right now, but you can do this with several, right? You can do it in your career life. You can do it with some fun things that you're doing. You can do it with self-care. Then things start to be like, oh God. After a while, when you forget about your vision and you forget to tap in, you be like, oh, why am I doing this? Why do I have to do daily meditation? Or why do I have to do this daily blog thing? You know, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now, Faye, you may be saying like, oh, this blog thing, this is really hard, you know? You have to tap back into your vision. So whenever you feel this too contracted, you tap back in. So the way I see this happening is if I draw the same picture that you just saw in a different way, then you see that there's like this circle going on. This is a much more feminine way of drawing the same thing. You came from a resolution, lofty resolution. You tapped into your desire and made it an intention. Great. Then you set your goals, and then you came up with some habits, and then you work on that for a little while. You actually do it. Don't forget to do it, of course. And then every once in a while, you tap back into your intention. Is this still in alignment? Oh, that's why I'm doing it. Right, I'm tapping back in. This is the reason I'm doing it. Circling back, is the goal still right? Yes, fine. Oh, I'm still the habits. Yes, we're still in alignment. And you review this every once in a while. So at least on a, actually would be very nice to do it on a daily basis, then on a weekly basis, and then on a monthly basis, So anyway, any way that works for you, but tapping back in into your vision, because the vision is what fuels you and what makes you keep going. Like, so for Faye, it's the flower, imagining that full-blown flower that's sharing with all the other flowers on the planet about her beauty and about what she has to share. And for Karina, it's about being like this expansive thing. If you can remember how that feels like, then going through the grunt work of setting goals and the grunt work of actually putting habits into place, that will fuel you forward down the road. So remember my words, because right now you're probably not feeling what I'm talking about, but that feeling will come about and you will remember what I just said. So, any questions before we part? Let me stop sharing. So, no? Good. So there was only a couple of you on the line, so you guys had a chance to go through the process with me. But I also know that there will be people listening to this afterwards. So if you guys want some help with either refining your vision or setting a SMART goal or coming up with some habits that you would like some help with, so what habits should I do to reach my goal? I don't know. Maybe you're totally stumped. Then you have the opportunity to sign up for a 20-minute free strategy session, and we can chat about whether I can help you figure that out, basically. So there will be a link in the email that I sent you, and you guys are welcome to take advantage of it as well if you want. And then the other thing I wanted to say, so that's the offer, and then the other thing I wanted to say is my Body Joy program is starting in a couple of weeks, and I take a group of 10 women on the journey to create healthy rhythms, healthy routines, better food, how you eat, what you eat, just making your body really healthy and vibrant and alive so that you can actually step on the journey of being magnificent. And I remember when I started working with Karina 4 years or so ago, maybe 5 years even ago. I don't even remember. I met you so many years ago. I want to look it up. And the first thing we started out with was your body. There was no way you could be where you are today if we hadn't do some cleanses, got your daily rhythms in order. And you were pretty healthy already, but by just refining the way you were operating on a daily basis, it made you able to explode like this. And every time I talk to you, it's bigger and more magnificent. So if you want to say.
I was gonna say that now that you mentioned the Body Joy, I'm tempted to join it now.
Yeah.
Because every time you go a little deeper, the expansion is bigger. The investment on the habit is minimal compared to what you get.
Yeah, it's true, right? And you're welcome to join. I mean, I've been wanting to invite you, Karina, but I'm like, I don't know, does Karina need it? I don't know. But anyway, we can talk about it. All right. Any last thoughts? Thoughts, ahas, shares before we part? Okay, cool. Then thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed having the two of you. And until next time.
Thank you so much.